Welcome back to Rock Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan. Ever marvel at how inexpensive and easy it is to record music in your own home and release an album? Well, not if you're J-Lo. Find out all about it next.
Pretty sure that the McAfee guy is that redheaded dude that does the Scots, feed your lawn, feed it. That guy, I think that's
That's the crazy guy that made the antivirus software.
I think he's McAfee. I think that's his name. Yeah, pretty sure. Keep sure software completely safe.
McAfee's, where you can get just like marginal quality hamburgers.
Well, it's totally fine antivirus, I guess. It's fine.
Yeah, right. It's the Big Mac of antivirus. Yeah.
People with Apples right now are like, what's antivirus? I don't know what that is.
You know what's crazy is that like my new computer is actively trying to scam me with my antivirus software.
That's called irony. They're just huge fans of irony. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
You have 12,000 trackers on your device.
That we put there.
So you'd better come to our website to renew your...
This is actually the ultimate phishing scam right there, pretty much at the end of the day. Like, they create the problem and offer a solution to the problem at the same time. Yeah. Almost like if you had like a wolf cleanup service, like you release wolves in someone's property. It's like, wow, you got a lot of wolves in here.
Right. Well,
what you could use is a company that comes and collects wolves for people.
Right. Well, dude, that's like Vito coming by your deli, in Brooklyn saying, hey, we can protect you from, looters and
There's this crazy guy with his truck full of wolves over there. Yeah. we can keep you safe from him.
Yeah. Not many people know that, like, the original crime families, the Italian crime families, were protecting local businesses from trucks full of wolves.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a problem.
And Wolverines.
In Brooklyn
oddly
back
enough.
in the day. I know, immortal guys with, like, adamantium claws. I don't understand how that works,
right.
It's a fact. In Brooklyn, there was a major problem back in the 1920s. That was arguably the biggest problem. The whole, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Great Depression was an offshoot of those problems.
Yes, exactly. It was all connected.
It just sort of happened after the fact.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you think that our imaginative escapades are complete nonsense, just wait till you hear today's topic.
Okay, before we get in, so welcome to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. Today we're going to talk about the most rockin' thing you can possibly imagine. What is that, Ryan?
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, Jennifer Lopez. I know you're thinking to yourself, what does this have to do with rock guitar? Why are you wasting my time? And how dare you question me? That's the thing I come to, like, who the hell do you think you are?
You're right.
Go talk about what you want on your podcast. Tell me what I'm doing on my podcast, bruh. Step off. No, but apparently go ahead and lay it out, Ryan. You read an article in the Atlantic, or was it the Atlantic?
No, the Atlantic was about high rates of depression among kids.
We'll get to that fun topic on another day.
Totally different thing. Yeah. Although, if I had to listen to Jennifer Lopez's new album, I'd probably have high rates of depression.
I mean, I know why you'd have to listen to it. Some kind of lost bet, as a faulty wish to a genie. Like, what would lead to this happening?
Maybe if the Ukrainian generals would start blasting Jennifer Lopez's new album into the front lines,
what
could drive off the Russian army.
They get dragged in front of the Hague for war crimes if they did that. I mean, that's like
they would lose all support for the war.
Crimes against humanity. Those Russian troops should have been killed mercifully with napalm.
Putin's a bad guy, but that's crossing the line.
Nobody deserves to have to listen to new Jennifer Lopez. Nobody. Even Ben Affleck's conscripted away from that. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. He's got some of the gear from the Batman movie. Just puts it in his ear so he doesn't actually hear it. It translates into all Scorpions music in his head.
Oh, that would be great.
He's like, oh man, this is rad. Big City awesome. Nights. I like it. Yeah.
It's just like No One Like You. She's like, are you listening to This Is Me Now? And he's like, nope, it's No One Like You.
No, he's an actor, man. He'd be like, yes, honey, it's amazing. There's no one like you. He's like, somehow they'll sync up so that the tempo's the same, so he looks like he's bobbing his head in the right tempo.
Yeah.
Some kind of Batman tech he stole from the DCU.
Yeah, dude, no doubt. So I guess I read recently that and to be fair, I have no prior beef with Jennifer Lopez. So like, if you
other than she exists, that's the problem right there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what she's ever. She's a great, she's
Jenny
a great dancer.
Block. Yeah, and she's a pretty girl. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, she's a woman now.
Yeah, she's, when she first hit the scene, she's a pretty girl, could dance.
I mean, I guess, and I respect dance as an art form.
But she's an actress too. I'm not imagining that. She's done movies, right?
Oh man, does doing a movie really make you an actor or actress?
I guess. I mean,
I get. Yeah. I mean,
I just totally
like,
forget. Oh no, she did. What's that horrible Geely? That's like the one of the famously like biggest flops ever. That's her and Ben Affleck, right?
Yeah, it was like 25, 30 years ago.
That's the last Jennifer Lopez I can think of. So,
yeah, actually, I really can't. I mean, it's I don't know.
I remember everyone saying this is horrible. Who's in it? These two people, and that just matched me.
So I mean, like, if you consider an artist like Paula Abdul, I think of her primarily as a choreographer.
Yeah,
and she had a couple pop albums that were not too bad.
Well, I mean, she had all these great songwriters come in, all these great musicians play it. And it was actually musicians playing on it then.
Yeah, there were. There was a lot of synthesized. Like those were digitally created albums.
But there was real musicians playing on those albums. The bass, guitar parts, whatever they were actually real players. The drum parts, whatever they were.
Well, the drums were probably ghosted.
Some of them, but some of them they weren't. Back then there was actually higher standards in like the early '90s. True. For like what you could make an album. You know what I mean?
But she's carved out a career. I mean, her career. I when you say Paula Abdul to me, I immediately think choreography. Right? Like there's a career, there's a talent. That's a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the path that J-Lo should have taken. But
I don't know. I don't what path. I think the thing is that she came up around the time the internet kind of started. This sounds so weird to say. This is when it started blowing up.
Doesn't the internet make everything great?
I mean, that's like kind of. She was like an idol for people who think their like hobby is watching stars do weird things. And that seems to me. I think if there's more like a tabloid fodder, almost like created by the tabloids to like have something to talk about. Does that make sense? More so than an actual artist of any kind of depth or any kind of reason, to be.
It's a great example of celebrity for celebrity's sake.
Exactly. The Kardashians are another example. I kind of see her in the same light as the Kardashians. It's just like there's no reason they should be famous.
It's like the Post Malone phenomenon. Maybe they just like him, or maybe they just like her.
Instagram's feed is really cool, whatever. And I don't get that. I mean, honestly, I'm the biggest music fan in the world, as anybody listening to this podcast knows. Yep. But like, when I was a kid, I cared about what kind of amplifiers and strings you used and picks, and what was your songwriting process, and what kind of mic pre's were you using when you were recording through that old like vintage Plexi Marshall to get that kind of sound.
Well, also I didn't
give a shit about what they were dating or what. I didn't give. I could care less about any of that. Yeah. I don't need to know more about your personal life or who your dad was. I just want to know that you're a kick-ass rock musician and that you played these Charvel guitars with like Diodario 1/9 through 42 strings with a
fun fact. I don't know who King Diamond's dad is.
Exactly, nor should we know.
And I don't care.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess it's like Grand King Diamond.
yeah, right.
Something like that.
Yeah, I guess like what's above King?
Emperor Diamond, maybe it'd be Emperor
Diamond. Yeah, right.
Something like that. Oh my God! What if
Prefect Diamond?
What if it's Neil Diamond?
Hey, that would be the best thing ever.
Actually, his last name. Oh my God!
Can you imagine the Maury Povich episode? Neil, you are the father.
No, I am not the father. I do not know who he is. I never slept with that girl. I promise you.
They come to America, even from Denmark, to praise Satan.
On the ships and on the planes.
That's right.
They're coming to America. That's for
Hell
sure.
yeah!
But no. J-Lo, we bring this up in this podcast.
So the article's all about how. So I guess J-Lo has a new album out called "This Is Me." ... Now.
I can't believe the just like rampant narcissistic sort of like, don't you guys want to know who I am now?
Yeah, right. You guys knew who I was before.
This is me now.
I'm going to tell everyone just who I am now.
Exactly. So you can be just like me or something.
Yeah. So I guess so like the first track is. So the first track must be like how she took up like baking bread during the pandemic and she's made the second track is how she's made some alterations to her cardio routine.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. The third track is she's actually switched designers.
Oh, that makes sense.
For her daily wardrobe.
The fourth track's just like an infomercial for her perfume brand, I think.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yes, this is the now can you see who I am now? You can smell like me.
Well, that's going to be the follow-up album.
Yeah, smell like me now.
Smell me now.
Oh man, you got to get that in the next couple of years. It's going to be an expiration date on that one.
It's called J-Lo's next album is called "How I Smell." ... Now.
Geriatric Jennifer Lopez. Oh my God, it's not good. It's not good.
So apparently, poor J-Lo, I guess they had to cancel some tour dates due to low ticket sales.
Can't imagine why that would be.
Right, and the article goes on to explain her disappointment because
I'm
she's,
J-Lo. Don't you want to know who I am now? How are you going to find out?
It's a total cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it's worse than Lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's produced by J.J. Abrams. That explains the exorbitant album costs.
Here's the irony, right? Like, if you were only aware of J-Lo at her peak, right, when she was, making crappy movies and crappy music and being married to Ben Affleck, well...
Wait, wasn't she married to Alex Rodriguez for a while, the baseball player?
Oh, I mean, maybe.
See, this is the kind of thing we're missing out. We don't have. I need an album. This is me 2017. This is me 2020. So we can know exactly who she's married to at what time.
Well,
how else are we supposed to know?
So the irony is that here she is making an ostensibly crappy album. I mean, to be fair, I haven't heard it.
It is a
but I'm
J-Lo
sure
album,
it'll
though, so
be
you can imagine
crappy.
what it is. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, the ticket sales have told us. Well, that I don't know. I suspect it's crappy.
Well, you know what? She's in that weird spot where she's too old to be seen as cool by anyone young. And the people who are like her core audience are people who are probably moms in their 30s right now, I'm gonna guess. And
30s, 40s.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Yeah,
and
40s.
they're probably not too eager to go spend $500 to go see J-Lo prance around and sing about how great she is. You know what I mean? That's my guess is why the ticket sales are soft, because they're not. And it's one of the reasons like the 80s metal bands are really hit their stride in the last like 10 years, because all those people are like now in their 50s. Their kids are grown. They got nothing but disposable income, so they can go drop $500 on a show. That's not a big deal. That's why all those bands are doing so great. So she's in a weird in-between spot where the people that she they grew up with J-Lo and is like an idol are like slightly too old to not have responsibilities, but aren't old enough that they have no kids anymore.
I think she's well, so the irony is that she's basically exactly who she was 20, 25 years ago. There she is with Ben Affleck. There she is making a crappy ass album.
Exactly.
Like, right? So, like, I mean, I already know who J-Lo is now, because she is, except she's just older now.
Yeah, exactly. She lives in a solipsistic universe, though, where it's just like, we are all accoutrement to her.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We're all bit players in her play. You know what I mean? And it's
exactly.
inconceivable to her that everyone wouldn't want to know who I am now, because that's like, I'm J-Lo.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, look, getting older is tough, right? And I mean, one thing I love about rock and metal is that you can still be involved in it, like, when you're older and still have dignity,
So you're like an old badass at that point. You're like a dude who's been through the wars at that point. It's like, don't fuck with that guy. Jeez, he's been around. You know what I mean? It's like there's like a cred.
I guess there is a
like Rob Halford or something
cred,
like that. It's like, that guy's the metal god. He's been metal god for 40 years. You know what I mean?
True.
It's like, you know what I mean? Don't fuck with that dude. Bruce Dickinson, you want to pick a fight with that dude? You know what I mean? It's like he'll properly kick your ass.
Well, like Glenn Tipton and KK Downing get the respect they deserve from the people that are making the metal now who are younger.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I dig that.
Well, because metal is really a genre that was forged in the 70s, 80s, and then early 90s. That's kind of the formative years of metal. You know what I mean? So people like our age are the ones who are sort of picking that up, and then the next generation younger than us, it's always going to kind of pay homage to where it came from, which is that time period, that 70s, 80s primarily. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But that also is why it's sort of niched out now. It's like not like something that's for like kids who want to. I mean, it's funny. J-Lo's not that either. I think the problem with J-Lo, she thinks she is that like 19-year-old girls want to be J-Lo. Like, no, you're grandma.
The lack of awareness is staggering.
Yeah, the 19-year-old girls don't even want to be Selena Gomez anymore. Well, Selena Gomez is too old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So they want to be like whatever the new one is. I guess if you're like a disaffected 19-year-old girl, you want to be like like Phoebe Bridgers. If you're like a more mainstream 19-year-old girl, you want to be like, I don't know, maybe like a Nicki Minaj or Megan Thee Stallion or something. That's what you want to kind of. That's what you want to be. Like, there's not really a lot of like I'm trying to think who's like a pop princess that's something the kids would know. I don't think
I'm so glad I don't know.
Well, what's funny is that my kids are teens now, so like what the 12-year-olds are listening to, I don't know anymore. I was right on it for a while, but now I don't know. So most of the students I get who are young teenage girls, there's one or two things they say to me. They say, I don't care about music at all, or they're into like old school like 80s metal and stuff. They like Poison, Bon Jovi,
or Taylor Swift.
Or Taylor Swift. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw a meme the other day, and I don't know if this is accurate, but it said something to the effect like, Taylor Swift has used the same chord progression for 21 of her songs.
That's actually slightly undervalued.
Yeah, I thought only 21, but and they're all 1, 5, 6, 4s. Anyway,
Hello, she wrote those tunes though, and she wrote the lyrics and the melodies and all that stuff.
which is and she plays them on a guitar
and
herself.
piano and
piano, yeah.
So she's actually a real musician, and she did that herself. Ooh, she wrote the same chord progression. So did every other hit song for the last 50 years. You know
I'm
what I
willing
mean?
to bet that Jennifer Lopez wrote 0 chord progressions.
Yep, because she doesn't play any instruments. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And part of this article said that she's particularly disappointed about the concert dates getting canceled because she spent $20 million of her own money on her album.
Now, this is something I want to drill down on, because what a terrible financial decision. Like, how could you ever put $20 million into an album? You have 0 from the get-go. Even if it's a monster runaway smash hit, you're never making that money back.
Yeah, how do you, I mean, is that $20 million, is it all promotions and advertising? It could not possibly be hiring session
No,
musicians,
it's all producers just on a laptop,
producer.
basically.
Yeah.
They're doing it. So how that possibly cost that much money? This is probably one of those albums where if you look at any given song, there's like 15 songwriters on it, and there's probably like literally 3 minutes and like 3 chords in the whole song.
Usually when there's a lot of songwriters listed, it's because they're using samples, which I suppose again,
I guess it's possible, but I mean, like, still, you think,
but that's not really what like J-Lo music is, though, right? It's not like a DJ using a bunch of samples. It's probably all just programmed.
Maybe it is now. I don't know. I don't know what she's doing now, but I got to tell you, it's insane. Like, and I was just thinking about, like, Judas Priest just dropped a new album that was actually really, really great, and they probably spent 20 grand maybe total for the whole album, including mastering, and then maybe another $5,000-$7,000 on marketing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that album kicks ass. It's great. So
you're saying Judas Priest didn't even spend $1 million?
Not even.
$20 million.
Well, because think about that. That's
$20 million.
That's good money after bad. Even spending 25, 30 grand on an album is not a great investment, because you're not making that money back.
Right.
I guarantee Judas Priest isn't making 30 grand back on the streaming of their new album. They're basically giving it away for free, hoping people will buy tickets to see the show
and merch and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And so Jennifer Lopez, that to me just screams like narcissistic, like pampered star who only wants to, like, I want 15 chilled artisanal waters, at all times, and I want to have breaks, and we'll sing like one line of verse, and then they'll go take a break for 3 hours, and then come back, but they have the studio booked for me the whole time. That kind of thing. I'm sure that's what it is. She's not in there just knocking it out.
Jilla's gonna take a break, do a line.
But she's not going to go in there.
Okay.
She's not going to go in there and knock out like a whole out. Like, do you want to do a whole song in one take? Let's go. That's not happening.
So you're saying the $20 million, like, that's mostly the cocaine budget?
Yeah, I don't know what J-Lo's recreational drugs of choice are, but
well, she's rich, and so I'm telling you it is.
All I can tell you is that it's one of those things that I think, like, she's not in there just knocking out. We'll do 5 songs today, man. I'll sing all day. I'm sure that isn't what's happening.
Man, I hate to. It's so. So everyone listening knows I love South Park.
Okay.
And they they've been playing the J-Lo episode recently where Cartman's like hand puppet, like, he claims it's Jennifer Lopez.
Okay.
And I mean, this is like a 20-year-old.
Very curious to see where this is going.
Oh, it's awesome. It's a well, because Cartman's like a total, like, offensive bigot all the time.
Yeah, douchebag. Yeah.
So he creates this, like, it's like a Hispanic stereotype, like, hand puppet that he says is Jennifer Lopez. Right, for Mexican Cultural Day at school or something, right? That's the plot.
Sounds like
right?
something Cartman would do. Yeah.
But he takes it so far, like, the kids are at the mall, and this is how you know that the episode's super old.
Yeah,
right. They
at
go
the mall. Yeah,
they go to the.
Where do kids go? They're always at the mall.
and so they go to the mall, and, like, they go by one of those. There used to be these units in the mall where you could go in and, like, basically karaoke and then record it.
Wow, you mean like a little like a photo booth sort of thing?
It was like glamour shots, but like karaoke glamour shots.
I have no memory of this. That's crazy. Okay, fair enough.
So they go by the unit in the mall, and then Cartman records, this, like, with just some, like, indescript Latin backing track, and just, like, his hand puppet Jennifer Lopez just records a song about eating tacos, or it's ridiculous, right?
Well, that sounds right.
And so the record executives, like, think it's awesome, and they're like, well, there's this new artist named Jennifer Lopez. Well, we already have an artist named Jennifer Lopez. Well, we're going to have to fire Jennifer Lopez. And they give a record contract to Cartman's hand puppet. and meanwhile, that hand puppet's having an affair with Ben Affleck. So like Cartman wakes up in his bed at his mom's house, like laying next to a naked Ben Affleck. It's the funniest thing, man. So, putting this all in context, like seeing that again after a while in the context of just recently, I don't know, man, what world we're living
Well,
in.
what's funny about that too is that's very illustrative of how like executives tend to think in the creative world. They just they just think about everything that you do is a commodity to be marketed. It's like a can of Pepsi. That's all it is. There's nothing. There's no depth. There's nothing to it other than what we can sell this for.
Yeah, that's the rub, isn't it?
But the thing is that you get the culture that you pay for. So if you're not supporting shitty music and shitty movies and TV shows, then you're not going to get that because they want your money. So they're going to give you what they think you want. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of executives have a very thinly veiled, like, sort of lack of respect for the intelligence of the average person. They kind of think the average person's kind of a dummy. We'll just buy whatever we sell them.
Well, that's where most like narcissists and sociopaths are in society. They're the upper levels of various different corporations.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too. Like there's like some like 15% of all CEOs are like sociopaths.
Yeah,
it's like which it makes sense because you have to be able to stab a lot of people in the back and sleep at night. To be able to get to that point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, you have to have that personality. Like the function of narcissists or of psychopaths in society is to like perform those roles.
Yeah,
it's just it's just a matter of how malignant any of them are.
I think with Jennifer Lopez though, that's a very much a narcissistic sort of thing, and I think I'm trying to get into like her perspective. She probably would say like, I'm just an artist. I'm trying to bring joy to the world and express myself. That kind of thing. That's how she probably looks at it.
Do you really think that's?
I think that's how she looks at it. I do. I think that's probably if you asked her, she would say that.
I think she fears irrelevance.
Well, I mean, everybody who's been super famous fears irrelevance.
I'm not ready to give her that much credit as an artist.
I don't know. I guess I not know anything else. I would assume that everyone's a good actor. They're coming to the table trying to do something. I think for her, she's very far down the pathway of like, I can't even see like anything anymore other than I'm the center of the universe, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And
I mean, that's pretty bad.
It is pretty bad, but I think that in her mind, she thinks I'm totally just trying to bring joy to people because they want to be like me or they want to like live through vicariously through me.
Okay, I get it.
That kind of thing. I think that's kind of how she sees it. Or maybe it's not even as simple. Maybe it's just marketing for her perfume line.
Of course.
Yeah.
So her thought process, of course, it would bring people joy to know who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Now.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I think the thing that blows my mind, though, and this is, I wanted to talk about the business side of this, is like, who in the hell told you, just do $20 million for this record?
Right. I want to see the receipts for the 20 mil.
Why on earth would you do that? Even if, let's say it was totally like above the board, like there's no marketing person in the world that's going to tell you, we're going to recoup that money. That is lost money. You know what I mean? And also the producers, the engineers, the people producing the record, like they're just taking her for a ride. Like,
so you give the producer $5 million, and then you have like a 10-piece band that you pay $1 million to each.
No, probably $1 million for the whole band, dude.
I know. I'm just trying to. I'm not saying this is like an extreme hypothetical, which is completely impossible. I'm just trying to figure out how to spend $20 million.
Probably a lot of it is marketing. Probably a lot of it's marketing.
It would have to be. Now, I mean, that having been said, the only thing and here's where the internet comes in, because I know that every ad I see is somehow targeted towards me.
Yeah.
Although I still can't explain why.
So a lot of midget porn ads, right?
Well, definitely. Man, you know what? I have Louis Shortstud's been a hero for 25 years, man. When I was a kid growing up at Guitar Player Music.
Oh my God, midget porn coming into this?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. You should know better, man. So the owner of that guitar shop, here's what the kids are missing out on these days, right? So I worked at Guitar Player Music when I was a teenager, right? And every now and then the owner would schedule a store meeting where you had to be at work, like an hour and a half early, right? So one person would be designated to bring the donuts, and then the assistant manager would bring in just the filthiest porn. And everybody would, so for an hour, everybody
together and watch.
Everybody would clock it. Yeah, there's like a little TV like up in the corner, like by the front counter. And so we would just have coffee and donuts while
watching.
So there was this midget. His name was Louis Shortstud. Okay, so we would drink coffee and eat donuts while Louis Shortstud was getting it like up above the like pick counter, right? Like the little pick bins.
That's the start of your love affair. With
Well, you know what? It was the start. It was the start of. It was the start of the best inside joke because, like, because he, you know, because Louis Shortstud made sounds. And so you know, so we would just be going about our business in the store, and like someone would just say, "Whoa, what are you doing to me? Whoa!" Like that's what he sounded like, right?
Oh my
Whoa, what are you doing? Like he was trying to. I mean, you know what? Louis Shortstud is probably a better actor than J-Lo.
I was gonna say, I bet
that was his
I bet he's
famous
got a
line.
producer credit. Actually,
What?
I bet he's got a producer credit on the
He
record.
probably
man.
did, man.
Yeah,
It's- yeah, God, and I'm telling this in like the most PG-13 way I possibly can. Audience.
All I can say is,
and then you know, and he wore makeup too, kind of like Divine. It was like really bad, like drag makeup.
okay, we're now spending way too much time on Louis Shortstud.
Whoa, what are you doing to me? That's the same. If I had to listen to J-Lo's new album, whoa.
Well, here's the thing I want to get to. Let's get back on track. is that
Hey man, you brought up the topic.
know,
Hey,
I
you should have
just-
known. You should have known. Ryan has a midget porn anecdote.
I do not, so I'm not surprised. I guess I should know. I'm sorry. But you know, it's I think what that shows right there is the difference between like the pop world and the rock world, because the rock world is, and I guess that's one of the, if you can call being culturally relevant having any kind of upside, it would be that. Is that if you're in the rock world, that's like nobody takes bullshit lightly in the rock world. You have to kind of have the goods musically to be a rock band or a metal band. You can't like not. No one takes that seriously if you
Right.
don't. Whereas in the pop world, it like doesn't matter. It really is anything goes. Like it does, as long as you have like a brand, you can do whatever. You can almost like fart into a mic and
Yeah, like
auto-tune it.
anybody who's traditionally attractive, like you can manufacture for them whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just a face to put on a lunchbox, you know. And how much are you willing to debase yourself, and then that will show us how much we can sell you, basically. You know, and we were talking before about like the Disney pop princesses who are like
Yeah.
aging out at like 18. They okay, now let's put you in the halter top.
So like here's a
that kind of thing.
parallel, man. So I think J-Lo is most known for starring in rom-coms.
Is that I guess, was it? I forgot that she was in the movies. So
Yeah, I don't know,
Isn't
but
Geely like a rom com? That's
man, fuck, I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
But I just okay. So this is just a personal question to the listenership. Who's fired up about rom-coms? Who is it? Who
I gotta
is
tell
that
you, man.
audience?
I
Who are
actually-
those people?
I actually like rom coms. I think they're pretty fun.
Bruh.
I gotta tell you,
Okay, I mean, I guess
in my top 20 movies of all time is definitely When Harry Met Sally. I love that movie. That's fantastic. So it's
okay, and I guess Louis Shortstud's kind of a rom-com. You
so
know?
romantic.
Right.
He's really an old soul.
So maybe okay. So When Harry Met Sally was clever. Okay, that's an outlier.
That's
man.
a great movie, dude. I love that movie.
I mean, it is.
Also,
But it's a Rob Reiner flick, and he's
Billy
the one
Crystal back when he was still funny. And,
and Rob Reiner gave us This Is Spinal Tap, for which we will have a sequel soon.
and is a great director and writer and stuff. So I mean,
Dude, I can't wait for our podcast reviewing the new Spinal Tap movie.
I can't either. We're gonna totally. You guys, just if no one knows about this, Spinal Tap 2 is actually already wrapped shooting apparently. Because you think about it, it makes sense it would be a short shoot because they're basically going to just have scenarios and they're going to go improvise. You know what I mean? It's not like, they'll probably do like 5-6 takes of each scene and then they'll just go from there.
And it'll be just the greatest thing ever. And that, even if it is Spinal Tap 2, there is a return of Spinal Tap out there. So like
Yeah.
every Christmas when I send everybody the video of Christmas with the Devil,
nice.
that's from the return of Spinal Tap. It's like a live show. And,
Okay, wait, back to that. I like rom-coms. So I got no issue with that. Yeah.
wait, okay. So
I remember
let me
While You Were
understand.
Sleeping was another good one. That was a good one. I like that. That's a
Wait,
Sandra Bullock movie.
was that with the like Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan?
No, that one is Sleepless in Seattle. That one. So, but Why We're Sleeping is with Sandra Bullock back when she was like a young cutie that just kind of, when no one really knew who she was, That was a good one. So, yeah, I guess I'm partially the audience for
well, I don't
rom-coms.
like. Why?
I like romantic movies that make sense and comedy. That's kind of a cool combo. If you could throw in some like I don't know
Midgets?
Jedi or something. No, not midgets. Yes, of course.
I'm just trying to understand.
Was it Larry
Yeah.
Shortstud or whatever comes in there?
Louis, it's Louis Shortstud. Louis Shortstud.
I actually think Larry would be a better name for that. Actually, kind of, an homage to the Stooges.
I'm sure it exists.
The point is, I like this. I mean, the same reason. I mean, it's like anything else. I'm kind of generally an optimistic person, and I kind of feel like, and I feel like to me, I want to see movies that are uplifting and optimistic, and if got some comedy in there. That's kind of that. When I leave a movie theater, I want to feel better than when I walked into the movie theater. If that makes sense. I don't want to walk out feeling like, oh, what's the point of any of this now? I want to walk out saying, yeah, that was awesome. I was great, or that was really funny and endearing. That's kind of what I'm looking for in a movie. You know what I mean?
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
My favorite movie of all time is Raiders of the Lost Ark. So
okay, well, that's not a rom-com.
that's not a rom-com.
Like,
That's an action movie.
That's like action, escapism, fantasy. Like, I'm all for that.
That's pretty much the only kind of movies I'm into.
I just don't want to see two rich, beautiful people like have a stereotypical romance and fall in love.
I don't know, man.
I don't want to see Owen Wilson run through the airport.
Thanks for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. Please make sure to rate, subscribe, and review this podcast. Now back to the show. What movie are we talking about?
All of them, every rom-com ever. I don't. Dude, it's so. And I think it sets up unreasonable expectations for young people.
I agree with that. I just I'm not looking too deep in it. I just want to see a cute movie. It's funny. You know what I mean?
The kids are already up against enough on not socializing. Can you imagine like?
Yeah, they just had a movie. What was that one? Anyone But You. That was just a rom-com that was at the. It's about Sydney Sweeney. She's from one of the girls from Euphoria. That TV show Euphoria.
I've seen her in something else.
Oh, she's in that possessed nun movie, Immaculate. You know her from that. That's right up your wheelhouse.
Possessed nun. That sounds.
She's rad. I think she's in the Antichrist or something like that.
Oh, rad! That's awesome.
That would be something I would assume you would be into. That seems like your kind of thing. I think it's on Shudder. I think it's on Shudder. So
I need to. Next on my Shudder backlog is a movie called Baghead. Yeah, apparently this young woman inherits like a bar in London or whatever.
Okay.
But there's a stipulation down in the basement. There's this old crone with a bag over their head who can talk to the dead. But if you talk to her for more than 2 minutes, then I guess she kills everyone or something. Like bad shit happens. It sounds compelling. See, now that's a compelling plot right there. Like Owen Wilson falling in love with Sandra Bullock and running through the airport at the end to declare his love. That is not compelling.
Oh my God, folks. The last rom-com I really liked was Destination Wedding. I don't know if you've seen that. That's the
Okay, you know how I feel about weddings, Scott.
I know, but it's Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. It was good. It was cool. So
that doesn't
takes place in Napa. It's actually pretty cool.
Man, I love you, man, but I don't know how you can like that stuff.
You and I are very different in some ways.
I'm just sinking. I'm just sinking behind my pop filter.
Thank God that we actually have rock and metal to kind of keep us in the same world, because we're very different people when it comes to media. That's for sure. But that's cool. That's what makes good. That's a good thing.
And we're a quality partnership.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Unlike Ben Affleck and J-Lo. That doesn't seem like a quality partnership.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make, though, is that how vapid that is. Like, I'm going to spend $20 million on this dumbass idea that's never going to recoup the money and then be shocked that the ticket sales are bad.
I mean, it's just the being shocked part. I mean, if she just quietly spent the $20 million and was just like, I'm never going to tell anybody. I have a ton of money and I just need to do this vanity project.
Can you imagine
That's
that,
okay.
Can you imagine having so much money that you could just drop $20 million and just like, meh. It's almost like, yeah, I took everyone out to dinner and it was a little more than I wanted, but yeah, it's only, it's literally that attitude, but with $20 million. That's insane.
It's utterly insane, and that's like actual money spent. Right?
It's like I could have fed 1,000 kids in Africa for a year.
Oh, like how many? I could have offered $1 million scholarships to 20 people
and changed their lives completely. Yep.
Absolutely. Or I could have gone on GoFundMe, and everybody who's got a GoFundMe page because of a medical issue, I could have just gone paid. Yeah, paid.
Yeah, but instead it's a let's look at me project. About how great I am, because everyone wants to know who I am.
And everyone wants to know ... who I am now.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of like Beyonce doing a country album. It's the same kind of thing. It's like so stupid and narcissistic. It's like is there a huge bunch of Beyonce fans who are just dying for a country album from Beyonce? It's like
the thing with Beyonce is that she's actually a badass singer. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's why I withhold any of my ire for I just accept that I don't like. I'm not. You know,
I wish their music was better though. I mean, if you're gonna have that kind of
especially-
voice, sing something that's like real R&B.
I mean, especially with a country album, I'm not. You know, I'm not the target audience. I do think
who
it's-
is the target audience though?
I think it's great that a high-profile African American artist is like getting involved in the country genre because I think the country genre needs it. And I mean, she's not the first.
I don't know, man. There's a lot
Lil
of
Nas X had
a lot of
success
good
and-
corn trucks eating, you know, Luke Bryans and Brian Lukes and you know Josh Davidson Johnsons and you know that kind of thing.
Bob Johnson.
Exactly. There's a lot of those guys. They're doing just fine by the country with and sweet girls,
Louis Studson.
oh my gosh, sort of. That's who he's. Oh my god, You can't
Man,
have
it
that.
took us 60 episodes for Louis Shortstud to find his way to our
It's gonna happen at
podcast,
some
but
point.
It was going to happen.
It's going to happen at some point. But no, I mean, I just look at that and I just feel like it's just so. I guess it shows to me like how much it doesn't matter what the quality of your art is in that world. It doesn't matter at all. It's like not even a thought. Like it's just good. It's you know it's. Or,
So, and she only had to cancel some concert dates. So I want to know who's got tickets for the other concert dates.
people were very different than us. That's for sure.
And I accept that. I mean,
Yeah.
this is an honest question, folks. There's just some stuff that exists that's demonstrably such crap.
Dude,
I don't know.
Megan Thee Stallion can go out and her music is borderline unlistenable. If you can even call it music.
That's
I mean,
Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, sorry, I can't do the. I just won't do it. It's like whatever, dude.
She has a fun name, though. I mean, at least,
I guess I have an innate sort of knee-jerk reaction to bullshit artists. That just when I tell someone's just full of shit, I just have no respect for them whatsoever.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like,
I get that.
Yeah, I just like at least make an effort, dude, to like pretend like you care about any of this. You know what I mean? It's not just a marketing thing for whatever your lifestyle brand is. You know what I mean? It's like, but you know, I guess if you consider that someone who gets into that kind of music, that aiming for the mainstream kind of music, they're really about all making as much money as they can. Like they're not driven by artistic desires or driven by money.
And they're
you know?
making money because there's people that think it's good and they buy it. Who are those people?
But the thing is, they aren't though. People are streaming that. They're not buying those records. They're just streaming that stuff, and they're not.
Well, I mean,
making-
they're buying something.
I
They're
guess.
buying
buying
merch
tickets
or
or buying a
tickets.
t-shirt. Yeah, I guess that's true.
I guess. I guess
You say
if-
buying it, you don't mean the album specifically. You mean like that as a
Well,
gateway
there's
to the other.
You're right. There's
Yeah.
there's a fan base that's spending money that somehow makes it to the people who are selling whatever's being sold.
Yeah.
And I just don't. Like, who are those people?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't think I've ever met someone who's like really into J-Lo. I don't think I've ever met that person, and I would
I don't think I
have
have
because
either.
I've been around a lot of soccer moms over the last 15 years, whatever. Who like you would think that would be the target audience for J-Lo is like a mid-20s person, but I don't know. Yeah.
So are people just born with bad taste, or do they develop
The
bad taste?
nature versus nurture debate that's been going on
Right.
forever.
And clearly, it must be like partially both.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, I think bad taste in music is a byproduct of a lack of passion for music. Like if you don't care, it's like whatever. It's like people who don't give a shit about with food. Like, oh yeah, sure, McDonald's, it's fine, whatever, doesn't matter. There's people who don't care about. Dude, this is something I've always struggled with trying to relate to other people is people who have no passion for anything. It's like, okay, what do you think about the A's moving to Sacramento? Like, meh. What are you gonna have for dinner tonight? Do you like Mexican, Chinese? Do you like Italian? What kind of food do you like? Yeah, whatever. What kind of music do you like? I don't know. It's like that kind of like, well, what are you into? Like, are you passionate
Yeah.
about? Anything? Are you passionate about anything? It's like,
Right.
yeah, because I can't tell you. I'm like passionate about tons of things. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, everything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta. I mean, we're basically just brains with senses, and you gotta feed your senses until you stop existing.
I always
man.
feed my Frankenstein.
Yes, that's
I
good.
learned that about 30 years
Well,
ago.
you have to feed your Frankenstein at least once in the morning and once in the evening. But
You should meet my libido. He's a psycho.
yes,
It's true.
adding lunch
Yep.
and some snacks. I got these great Frankenstein treats at Whole Foods the other day.
Frankentreats,
Yeah,
really?
Frankentreats. Yeah, they're awesome.
Are they like made of like raw bone and stuff? It's thrown to Frankenstein.
They're made out of cadaver bone. And, yeah,
Oh, he's so happy. Look at him.
just scratch him behind the bolts. Give him a good bolt scratchy.
Gnawing on his bone. That's adorable. Make sure that chain's working.
And then I found out it was just Christian Bale just got lost and passed out in my backyard.
Oh,
so,
okay, yeah. And you're like, awesome, it's Batman.
Well, no, have you seen he's playing Frankenstein's monster?
But no one know about Christian Bale. That could just be Christian Bale on any weekend.
just preparing for a role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He has no boundaries, that guy.
Yeah, so he's going to be playing Frankenstein's monster in the new The Bride movie or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
I guess
yeah.
Maggie Gyllenhaal's making it, and I'm not
Wait,
sure.
she's directing it?
I think she directing, wrote the script, producing.
What? They're letting Maggie Gyllenhaal direct and write scripts now?
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I guess it could be okay. As long as it's not a musical, I'll be fine. As long as it's not all Broadway.
Christian
I'll
Bale's
be cool.
great. I mean, he'll do
he's
the best he
awesome.
can with whatever he's got, but it's like one of those things where it's like,
He's a famous actor that never takes me out of whatever role he's playing. It's very Anthony Hopkins.
he can sort of morph into whatever.
He can morph into whatever,
Whereas if you see
right.
Tom Cruise, like, hey, look, it's Tom Cruise, and he's playing a private eye now.
Or it's like, it's anything Will Smith does. It's just like, oh, that's obviously
Or
Will
Ryan
Smith.
Reynolds, he plays the same character.
Yeah,
in the movie,
and I mean, at least Ryan Reynolds doesn't take on too many serious roles. Although I think he's made some rom-coms.
yeah, what's the one with Sandra Bullock?
I don't. Isn't Sandra-
The Proposal. The Proposal. Yeah, I was trying to think what it was.
See, there's another here's my, and this brings me to my beef with Beyonce.
Okay. Wow, you have beef with Beyonce? You said
Now, the
you don't
only
have a
thing
beef
I
with
can
Beyonce.
think of that bothers me about Beyonce, if you like it, then you better put a ring on it.
Huh.
No, fuck you. I don't need to do shit.
Well, you will never get Beyonce then.
No. Thank goodness.
You have to learn to live with that, okay, Ryan, that you're not going to ever have Beyonce as your betrothed.
I mean, I just think it. I mean, it's just like an ad for Zales Jewelers. Like, how materialistic and stupid is that?
Yeah, and then there's also, look at any ad for, like, I can tell you that for wedding stuff, it's like the ad is like, oh, well, if you really love her, you'll get to spend whatever it takes.
Well, which I expect out of an ad.
I know, exactly. But like,
you know.
the whole culture, dude, like, trust me, there's like this whole like subculture / like economy that's the wedding economy. There's like expos and stuff, and there's like, multiple different dress places, and like there's every single jewelry
everything
place.
has an industry, man. There was a time I almost many years ago, I had a buddy go interview at a mortuary and ask me if I wanted to get involved in the funeral industry. Yeah, you can sell plots and caskets. You can get side by side with a barrier. You can get head to toe caskets. Or like burial plots, and then you have to buy a
when you say
casket.
side by side with a barrier, I mean like you have
like the plots.
So you have two plots that are side by side, but if you don't want to have your dead loved person too close, you can put a barrier in between.
Yeah, I guess you like concrete barriers so that the caskets don't fall into each other over time. I mean, who fucking cares? You're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
But
also, that's weird time to
whole,
have like boundary issues. Like, oh,
I guess they start you off working what they call in the industry, quote, pre-need. Or you could work post-need. So pre-need is, I'm going to die someday, so me and Ethel need to get some caskets and some plots. Post-need is, holy shit, my loved one just died and I need to spend money to resolve this.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, just think about that, right?
Yeah. Like dealing with people at their worst moments, sort of, or like shocking.
And then being, probably motivated by earning a commission.
Dude,
it was a commission. There was like a loan calculator involved in the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, man. It's like any other business. You know what I mean? It's
so like everything has an industry, and I get that, but why is Beyonce doesn't need to advertise.
Every
for
like
sales.
20-something-year-old dude who wants to propose to their girlfriend has got this massive amount of pressure. Like, you need to spend this much money. Like, you need to spend. I think that what was it like? Something like 3 months of your income on the ring, or at least, or something like that.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, that's the dumbest financial decision. I mean, it's just. Here's why weddings
but you don't
are
love
fucking
me
horrible.
if you don't do that. You don't love me.
The whole reason that weddings exist is so that back a long time ago, families could join forces and combine wealth
and survive another 3 years.
That's right, and that's the only reason it exists.
Well, reproduction and the subjugation of women. Those are other reasons too.
Oh, right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah.
So, oh man. So, you know what? Like, Beyonce as a cultural force, like, I'm glad she's dipping her toe in the world of country music, because I think there's a lot of issues in that culture that need to be broken down. And so if she does that, then that's a cultural
I don't know. Beyonce
good.
is the one that I think that's like any other culture. It's got to be, any change has to come from within. It's like, if country music's going to grow up a little bit, they have to have people in country music who are willing to grow up a little bit. They got to put some soy milk on their corn trucks.
Yeah, well, Beyonce right. Beyonce's not going to make Jason Aldean go away.
No.
So,
But honestly, no one's going to, dude. He's going to
I know.
be. That's just, honestly, that, and nor should there be, because that represents a fragment of society. There's a part of society that person speaks to. You know what I mean? That is the,
which person, Beyonce or
no,
Jason
talking about
Aldean?
Jason Aldean. There's a segment of our society
well,
to whom that
I
speaks
agree
to.
with you.
You know what I mean? But
don't-
they're not that. But we can't make those people just disappear either. So this
No,
could
I'm
be
not
one of those
saying that
things
either, but
we have to just learn to live with it, that people aren't going to see things the same way, and we have to respect each other. And
look, I agree.
Yeah, and
on that principle, although, yeah. Anyway, we could drill deeper. But
yeah, we won't. No, but
we're taking us back.
We're not
we're
Johnny.
yeah.
Was it Short Studs? We're not going to drill any deeper than.
Louis, well, I mean, Louis Shortstud really couldn't drill all that deep.
I got his name wrong twice. I call him Larry and Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta have
I'm so
respect
sorry,
for-
whoever you are.
Gotta have respect
probably,
for the little guy. He's probably dead by now.
probably deceased midget porn
I mean,
star.
that was it was a well-worn VHS tape. So you know what I mean? Who knows?
Oh, that's so nasty, dude.
But you know what? Hey, he achieved. He brought joy. He brought joy to all of us. Far beyond just that morning meeting.
Would you say he brought us to completion?
He did. His goals finally came to fruition. Yes. He was a little guy with a big impact.
I'm sure that's on his tombstone.
It's a very little tombstone. He didn't have to. I'm sure the sales guy at the mortuary was pissed. He wasn't able to hit his monthly nut with Louis.
It's sort of like a small porcini mushroom.
Yes.
It just feels right.
Man, is this the episode of the podcast that gets us canceled, Scott?
I don't think you can cancel a podcast.
You can? No, that's great. That's good.
I don't think you can do that, but the plan.
Oh,
let's get back
man.
to it. Let's bring it home. Let's bring it home.
Okay.
If you are, in that pop world, it's just, to me, that is a blatant sort of. If you look at, like, say, the newest album from Judas Priest, or whatever, pick any rock metal artist compared to that. They'll do it for fractions, even underselling it, the budget, and it'll be put out, and the people who like that band will eagerly buy that band play live. When you're Jennifer Lopez, you're really part of a lifestyle brand. Should be sponsored by Target. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not really like music
So you're
anymore.
saying it's time for Martha Stewart to make her? Oh wait, no, I'm sorry.
Her gangster rap album. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say again. I was gonna say Martha Stewart's got skills, but again, J Lo has skills. She's a great dancer, probably a good choreographer. Man, I wish that she were just doing that, and there were some cool new dance-related thing that she was somehow known for.
Well, I have a deal in my own mind with Jennifer Lopez. Like, she gets to do what she does, and I get to just ignore her existence completely. And that's all good.
Except for on the podcast.
Except on the
when I bring
podcast,
it
when
up.
we do a whole episode just ripping her to shreds. But which
Well, it's just, dude. It's just the $20 million part.
it's also
of
the
album.
vapidness of the music and the narcissism that is like just so galling. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
It's just like, oh my god, could you lack any more self-awareness and or humanity? It's
Well,
like, yeah.
exactly. Well, and
Yeah.
I feel like this happens. I mean, it always has happened, but I mean, I think it's emblematic of American society these days. So there.
Here's why I'll push back on that. The American
cool.
society is all things at all times.
Yeah.
No matter where you look at, there's someone who's doing the worst possible thing, and then there's someone doing the best possible thing. And there's people everywhere in between on that spectrum doing everything. Most people just want to. I think most people want to do the right thing and be good to the people they love.
I agree
And
completely.
make a living. That's what most people are trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, well, that bears out because humanity wouldn't have survived this long if we weren't social animals.
and there's
that
psychopaths on
cooperate,
either
right?
end. You know what I mean? And that's
Very true.
And that's basically
Agreed.
most people's. I would never. I think American society is going to be fine. We're going to adjust the way we need to adjust with the circumstances. And I think that's just what it is. But I think I wish the part of this, and this is maybe just a human thing. It's probably not just an American thing. That the idea of like deifying these celebrities and it leads to this kind of narcissism, that kind of sort of like, you are J-Lo, you're a goddess on earth here to make your life better. Oh my God, Beyonce is queen. That kind of thing like that's got to go away. We got to just be like, oh, that's a cool singer. That's cool.
Yeah, well, and you can experience art and the artist better if you just realize that they're just human beings.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Dude, a student of mine just this last week, I guess I forget what it. I guess he commented on Queensryche's Instagram, like, man, you guys are like awesome, said something really cool, right? And I don't know if it's one of the guys from the band or their social media director. Like he said, he thinks maybe Todd LaTorre actually answers stuff on
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Instagram. my student asked what do I have to do to, what should I be doing as a young guitar player or something like that, right? And they answered him.
What did they say?
It started with practice, and follow your passion, and it was really awesome. Like they wrote him like a paragraph.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was very uplifting and cool. And I told him, dude, that was probably Todd Latore who answered your Instagram, man. So,
but not only is he an amazing singer, but also a multi-instrumentalist. He plays all kinds of instruments.
Yeah, super talented guy. I mean, if indeed it was him, if it was anybody in the band,
yeah,
like
it could have been Michael Wilton, could have been anybody.
Yeah,
yep,
and I mean, after expressing how awesome I thought that was to my student, I told him, hey, listen. Queensryche's awesome, and what's great is they're human beings and musicians just like you and me, right?
Yep.
So, hey, you know what? Just keep that in your pocket. Maybe one day you get to meet one of those guys, right?
And
as long as you treat them and when you do, if you're not starstruck, if you treat them like a human being, they'll treat you like a human being. You never know, man. You could strike up a relationship.
Yep.
That's all of that stuff is on the table if you just treat everyone else like a human being. It's just so cool.
The idea though of like deifying, like, oh my God, this
right.
that's got to stop.
It's got to stop.
Not with
right?
music, but movie stars, TV stars, Instagram stars, whatever. We just gotta that's got to go away. But you know what? I think I'm just screaming at clouds in my front yard at this point because that's never going to go away. It never has gone away. It's always existed. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I wonder. I think you and I are pretty fortunate in that we get to do something that we love for a living.
Yeah.
Like the human society requires that a large number of people have to do something they don't love for a living.
Bastards.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of media is like pointed at those people, and that's maybe kind of how
wish
that
fulfillment,
happens.
sort of like watch. It's like it reminds me. It's like the Rock the Block HGTV building the new dream house thing. Is the same sort of thing. Yeah, you're right. I'm thinking about like the Master Chef shows, that kind of thing. I mean, that's double because it's cheap. So it doesn't cost them much to make.
It's cheap to make, right?
And it's one of those things that's like wish fulfillment for people who are unsatisfied with their lives. That makes sense.
Right. It's either wish fulfillment or, a lot of the reality TV like all the true crime stuff. There's like, I don't know, maybe
like Schadenfreude sort of.
Yeah, maybe some I mean, look, I love Schadenfreude. Let me tell you, I've actually invented a holiday these last few years called
Schadenfreude Day.
No, it's called Schadenfreude.
Come, kids, gather around the Schadenfreude tree.
Yes.
It's Schadenfreude.
Dude, I really want Schadenfreude to take off, right? In fact, I think I read about J-Lo's disappointment, like, on a Schadenfreude. That feels like a Schadenfreude, like, article, right? Like a gift from Schadenclaws.
All right, and by the way, just in case there's anybody out there who doesn't know what Schadenfreude is, that's basically the malicious enjoyment of another's misfortunes. That's what that is. That's,
totally, I love it.
That's
so
what it
good.
is. So, I don't know. I think that
was a great definition, man.
It's just awful. But that being said, everyone does it. It's like that.
Well, I mean, when someone who deserves it gets what's coming to them. I mean, that's so think of it this way: like, if the Los Angeles Lakers
missed the play-in,
if they lost. If they lost in the play-in tournament on a Friday and then got in their airplane in Los Angeles, and then if it veered over Crypto.com Arena, crashed into the arena and killed everybody on board in like the entire Lakers organization, that would be like the best Schadenfreude ever.
Are you confessing to a crime right now? Maybe hypothetically. Seems very thought out, right? It's like, let's say like one of the bolts to the stabilizing flap on the right wing, or to get on. I mean, hypothetically. Yep. No.
Yes.
I think that's true, and if you consider it's either that wish fulfillment thing, or it's this sort of like train wreck on the side of the road kind of thing. That seems like that's what gets people's eyeballs, that kind of thing. And
right, and all of that falls under the umbrella of consumption.
Yeah.
Not creation.
I agree. I think that if more people were actively doing art, they would be a lot kinder to each other, because it's one of those things like everyone thinks it's funny until their thing gets torn to shreds. You know what I mean?
Art requires vulnerability.
Yeah, that's the nature of it. You know what I mean? And I think because people feel like they can, almost like an online troll kind of way, they can just anonymously throw shit at people. That's if they were involved in art, they wouldn't have that attitude. They understand what courage it takes to do art. And as much as I think J-Lo's ridiculous, I mean, in a way, I find it very fascinating from a psychological perspective. It's like, okay, this is a woman who is being courageous and putting this out, but it also has that huge blind spot of sort of self-awareness of how narcissistic it is too.
Yeah,
but I think those two things both exist at the same time. I think she is being courageous, but also she doesn't see her narcissism either.
And I'd have to read the article again. And maybe this is just the spin the author put on it, but it definitely seems to me that. Well, J-Lo has expressed to multiple sources how upset she is because she spent $20 million of her own money on it.
Which was just a terrible. Whoever her business manager is or her friends, they need to grab a hold of her and say, "Yeah, don't ever spend 20 million."
It's her being upset about it, right?
But why would you do that? That's a terrible idea in the first place. It's
right. Well, I mean, but don't be upset about it. Just like I said earlier, if it's just like, "Hey, I'm rich. It's a vanity project. I can do this for."
It's kind of like the Francis Ford Coppola thing, like the Megalopolis thing, like where he's just self-financed this meandering 4-hour movie or whatever.
God, I hope that movie gets made.
But apparently, it's made. It's done. They're shopping it to studios.
But
I just saw an article this morning that every studio is passing. They have no idea what to do with this thing. It's like a rambling.
God, couldn't he just talk to Peter Jackson or something? And I mean, doesn't Peter Jackson have?
You know what he's probably going to do? He's probably just going to set up a little streaming service of his own or something like that and put it out that way.
Yeah, you'll have to go to the URL on your TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope so, because you know what? It's fun. I think about this from time to time. In the same way that we're losing.
Wait, is this when you're not thinking about how you're going to murder all the Lakers?
I didn't say I was going to murder them. Right? That wouldn't fall under the. See, you can't.
Plausible deniability, right?
See, you can't. Okay, so I'm going to have to develop some rules and standards here, because you can't make Schadenfreude happen.
It just happens naturally.
You can't give yourself a Christmas gift, right?
You could. That'd be myself a Christmas gift.
Santa Claus has to show up and the present has to appear, right? So it's Schadenclaus needs to give you
that joy.
The joy of misfortune falling upon anyone who helps the Los Angeles Lakers be successful at anything.
Don't worry. They're not winning the title this year. I promise you they're not.
Same thing for the Golden State Warriors, right? So
you got Steph's awesome. I'm not going to ever talk shit about Steph.
To hell with Steph.
Steph's rad.
No, fuck that guy.
Steph is
he can rock the baby to sleep.
Steph is the wish, or while we were sleeping, of the NBA players. You know what I mean? The rom-com. Just he's
okay, well then I stand by my no, he's not. Okay, I've tried to explain this to my San Francisco Lakers fan friend.
Okay.
If you wonder why housing costs are so outrageous, part of the problem are jerks like baby Stephy Curry. Dude, total NIMBY, man. He wanted the county that he lives in, or the city jurisdiction, to pay for a wall around his house if they put up any kind of remotely quote affordable housing near where he lives, right? He can afford to build his own stupid wall, right? He's a NIMBY, dude. He's not in my backyard. And when I say affordable housing, I'm talking about apartments that would cost $100,000. $10,000 a month, rent. This isn't affordable.
Peasants.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So to hell with
keep
Steph
that
Curry.
rabble out of here.
Yeah, he can choke on his mouth guard, man. I've got no love for that guy.
Yeah, I can't feel like I got you off track though. We were going somewhere.
Steph Curry fall apart faster, man. Anyway,
I love Steph Curry.
I hope Father Time takes his toll faster.
He's already 36, dude.
Done with that guy.
Now he's just cashing in checks now at this point.
Anyway, so
where were we going with that? Though? You were going somewhere with that, though.
Oh yeah, so you can't make Schadenfreude happen. Schadenfreude has to be a gift from the cosmos, a gift of justice from the cosmos against stuff that sucks,
against people whose transgressions need to be punished.
Agreed.
So, all right, that's probably a good place to wrap it up on that happy note. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Brian and Scott. Please make sure to rate, subscribe, and review this podcast. Also, please check out our band website at xagesband.com. Brian.
That's www.exagesband.com.
Oh my God, is this where you are?
Now.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, please make sure to check out our social media, links on that website as well, and please follow us on social media. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much.
Peace.